Hello there, thanks for coming by PosterCentral.com's video blog today. I'm Pete Howard, and today, wow, a fabulous 1950s early seminal rock and roll and rhythm and blues original concert poster slash cardboard window card for the Fantabulous rock and roll show of 1957. I didn't make that word up, it's on the poster, Fantabulous, but you can better believe that I absolutely love it. It's just a great term. Look at this poster. What just great colors it has. What beauty, I'll tell you. Gorgeous red, blue, and yellow design. And look at that. You've got all the artists pictured and records listed and song titles and everything. And most of them with 2 songs, in fact. And 40% of these 10 acts, and by the way, it was entirely a black show, black acts all the way down, are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. 40%. In the Rock Hall, so that's just pretty amazing, I'll tell you. This is a tour blank, which means the color part was printed ahead of time, and the top venue information up here was printed up, of course, one show at a time. And I've actually got a picture of this from another venue, Bluefield, West Virginia, which is funny, it's just a few days later, 8 days later actually, but it's the same state, West Virginia. So there's the Bluefield Auditorium, same poster, just a small picture of it, but it's, I don't know if they went out of state during those 8 days between. They probably did, because otherwise you have to put people up for 8 days and so forth, and that'd be quite expensive, obviously. So going through the artists on here, we got, as you've seen some of them right there, Ruth Brown, and you know, the Mama Girl, as in Mama, he treats your daughter mean, so he was sort of known as that. Her current top 10 hit was Lucky Lips, and there it is right below her name, so that's always nice when that happens. Then, in the middle, sort of front row center, you could say, is the Coasters, whichever, with a hot double-sided #1 R&B hit, Searchin' and Youngblood. And in fact, that was also top 10 on the pop charts as well at this time, so wow. And Searchin' and Youngblood were both covered, by the way, by the Beatles in their early days before reaching fame, and played on the BBC and everything. Then you've got Bo Diddley there, and his current A and B side, Hey Bo Diddley and Mona, both very well known songs now, but surprisingly, they did not chart at all. But of course, Mona was taken to great fame, additionally, to new audiences by the Rolling Stones and the Grateful Dead, and Quicksilver Messenger Service even based one whole side of their Happy Trails album on the song Mona. Moving down the poster then, you've got the Schoolboys over there, and I think this is kind of a fun little vignette or whatever, that the Schoolboys were a vocal group from Harlem, and they put out, their entire chart history was 1 single for 1 week. Boom, that was it, their whole career. Well, guess what? Here they are on a Fantabulous concert poster with their photograph, and the A and the B side of that 1 single that hit for 1 week is on the poster. So that's just cementing them in fame forevermore. And look at, there's 5 of them, so I hope their ancestors see this and get a really big kick out of it. Next to them, you've got the Drifters, obviously a very well-known name in rock and roll history. Fools Fall in Love was recently a top 10 record for them, but Hypnotized, which by the way is supposed to have a D on it, but they left it off on the poster, Hypnotized was their follow-up 45, and that unfortunately did nothing, it just sort of flopped. And the Five Satins over here on the edge of the poster with a nice photograph of them, as you can see, the only group to get 3 song titles, so that's pretty cool, right? Well, I'm afraid in this case it's 3 strikes and you're out, because none of those charted. None of them. So I'll say something positive and remind you that In the Still of the Night was a huge hit for them the previous year in '56. Now we get down to a couple of hidden names, and it gets quite interesting. There's Johnny Hartman MC. I think I'll switch over to this side. Johnny Hartman MC. He was a jazz vocalist, and what's interesting is that he would go on to record an album with Train, the great saxophone player, the 1963 album called John Coltrane and Johnny Hartman. So, wow, huh? Buried way down there without a picture or anything. But even more surprising in that, in a way, Mr. Bobby Parker, blues guitar. Boy, Bobby Parker, heavens, my goodness, 19 years old at this point. That's not his picture, by the way, that's Paul Williams. So Bobby Parker, just to mention, no picture, no song titles. 19 years old. He is still going in 2012, and he's got his own Facebook page. And you can see him. He played with everybody. He played or toured with Chuck Berry, Buddy Holly and the Crickets, Little Richard, Sam Cooke, Jackie Wilson, the Everly Brothers, just everybody. You can actually see him if you pull up Bo Diddley on the Ed Sullivan Show on YouTube in 1955, and Bobby Parker's sort of standing behind Bo Diddley, but you can definitely make him out, and it's amazing, you know, to see him back then. He was 17 at the time. Can you imagine that, being on the Ed Sullivan Show? And in 1961, 4 years after this concert, he put out a single called "Watch Your Step," and it only rose to number 51, so pretty much a relative flop, maybe a regional hit. But the Beatles performed it, and there you have it again. Beatles, 1961 and 62, as part of their clubbing and their BBC playing and so forth. And George Harrison actually said that John's riff from "I Feel Fine" was inspired by Bobby Parker's guitar playing. And you know something, it doesn't stop there. Carlos Santana actually says Parker inspired him to pick up the guitar. He saw him as a kid in Mexico City. And Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin stole the riff from that 1961 single "Watch Your Step" and used it on Moby Dick on the album Led Zeppelin 2. And Page so admired Bobby Parker that he later tried to sign him to Swan Song Records, Swan Song, Led Zeppelin's record label. So amazing that name would be so buried and have so much going on for it. So I've already showed you that. Then in the middle here, down along the bottom, the middle, you got Smiley Lewis, and he's the oldest guy on the poster at age 44. But boy, how hip can you get? 2 years ago in 1955, he had "I Hear You Knocking," which of course was a monster hit for Dave Edmunds a long time later. And then in 56, the year before this poster, "One Night of Sin." Very important record, and Elvis knocked it out of the park in his 68 comeback special. I think it's the best song in that entire special. And he cleaned it up, of course, to "One Night with You" instead of "One Night of Sin." How awesome would it have been to have had those two song titles on the poster here? But instead they were plugging his current single, as they often did, and that single unfortunately went nowhere and didn't chart. And then you have the Spence Twins down there. What the heck, the Spence Twins? Well, 32-year-old African-American twin ladies. And they were not musicians, but exotic dancers that would, like, you know, bumping, grinding, and gyrating, and flimsy negligee on the stage. Very early rock and roll sinning, right? Well, this poster actually came from a gentleman who was at the concert named Jim Lowe, and Jim's eyewitness account of the show recounts that the Spence Twins, when they came on late in the evening, they caused such a sensation. I mean, everybody standing on their chairs and foot stomping and just making a general disturbance, which of course is normal for today's rock concert, but back in the 50s, everybody was really worried that the police were called in and the show was stopped. So there you have it. Get one good look at those ladies whipping up trouble back in 1957, the rock and roll show. So, oh, let's not forget Paul Williams at the bottom. I've already mentioned him, but there's his picture, looking mighty fine. So, beautiful, fantabulous poster, right? That word is not overused, exactly what it is. I presume I showed you the word fantabulous above Ruth. There it is. Look at that, fantabulous. So, hope you had a fantabulous time seeing it. I had one showing it to you. And beautiful, beautiful stuff. Thanks for dropping by. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.